And the greatest lesson here that I want to impart on you today is that life is not perfect. And the truth is that on a journey to happiness, it is a journey. It is not a destination. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let me tell you, if you're pursuing your purpose, pursuing, really coming out and being your authentic self, you're going to hit a lot of friction and you're going to hit a lot of discomfort. And that's not going to feel like the happy life agenda, but it is that character building. It is that necessity that will get you to the place that you need to be. Hey, y'all, it's Dani Cee. Welcome to the Happy Life Agenda podcast. Today, I'm just going to deviate a little bit from what my podcast is typically about. Not to say that I'm not going to be talking about purpose and passion and all of those types of things, because, at the heart of my mission, that's what I talk about every day. But, I have had clarity in my purpose for a while now. I told y'all, I think it started in March of 2024 when I really started to unravel that stuff. And by September, I was clear that I was supposed to be doing something else with my life other than what I was doing. But, part of that journey is like really listening for what you should be doing in any moment and not knowing when it was going to happen or how it was going to happen. And so you just get little pieces of everything that start to fall into place, and you just are really operating from this place of faith. And so I have been doing that for a while now. And some of you might know that, I have 2 decades of experience in marketing, and I kind of walked away from all of that. I had achieved what I believed was my dream job as a chief marketing officer for a company that, had a mission and a vision that when I started there, I truly believed in, and it was something that I had been, doing for decades of my life. And so it was a really uncomfortable place to be. And it's been amazing and uncomfortable on this entire journey. And the greatest lesson here that I want to impart on you today is that life is not perfect. And we often think that if I didn't have this job or this, house or this car, or if I did have those things, then my life would be perfect and everything would be great. And the truth is that on a journey to happiness, it is a journey. It is not a destination. So you're never going to have the perfect life. Even if you have that job, that car, that house, things are still going to go wrong. You are still going to struggle at times. But the happiness part comes in is when you approach things or react to certain situations in a way that is true to yourself and that is, driving towards your mission and your purpose. And if you are reacting in a way that's angry, pushing blame, frustration, all of those things, and you're not allowing yourself to just like have the emotions and then step back and really look at the situation for what it is, and you just believe that all of these things, terrible things are happening to you and not for you, and what's going on here, you're going to, continue to live in that unhappiness no matter what you have, because the material things, the jobs, all of that stuff is not going to fix anything. It's really what's going on up here in your mindset and how you approach that. And so I want to really impart to you kind of what's been going on in my journey, because I won't say that I was naive enough to think that, oh, by leaving my job and pursuing this purpose, I was just automatically going to be happy and that automatically wonderful things were going to happen. Now, did I think that it was going to be a little bit smoother? Absolutely. Did I think that some of the things that have happened that have been really, really hard were going to happen? No, I didn't. But, when you kind of hindsight's 2020, when you look back and you realize, like, when you're stepping into becoming who you truly are, and when you are stepping into a passion and a purpose, and you're 45 years old like I am, and you've been this way for 20 plus years, and all of the people in your life have certain expectations about who you are, how you react to things, what you do, conversations and expectations, have to change. And there are a lot of people in your life that are not going to understand what you're going through, or they're going to want you to be the person that they've always known. Because I mean, truly, when you choose a spouse, when you choose a friend, when you are a parent or you have a child, you have certain expectations of how that person is going to react in any situation. And so if they start going through a significant change, then you're going to be like, wait, what a minute. Who are you, and why did you say that, or why did you do that? And when things thwart our expectation, good, bad, or indifferent, it sometimes kind of sets us back on our heels and says like, oh my God, what do I do with this? And so I have been dealing with a lot of that. There's a lot of friction, I would say, in that, but there's a lot that I learned from that friction, and it's part of y'all. I know I did a podcast a while back, and I talk about it a lot. Is the common thread is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And let me tell you, if you're pursuing your purpose, pursuing, really coming out and being your authentic self, you're going to hit a lot of friction, and you're going to hit a lot of discomfort, and that's not going to feel like the happy life agenda, but it is that character building. It is that necessity that will get you to the place that you need to be. So I kind of want to sidebar a little bit and tell you a story is as I've gone through this journey, there are a lot of people who have said things to me that, have been really like hard to hear. And when you're going through this, you're kind of like looking for signs and listening for messages. And you'll hear a lot of people say, like, oh, what is the universe telling you? For me, the universe in that context is God. And there's a lot of times where I take stillness, which if you know me, I was never somebody who sat still, and really just listening in silence for what those messages are. And then going through my day to day and trying to parse out what is the truth, what is the noise, and what do I need to do with this information that I got in this thing that's happened. And it can be really hard to parse through that, especially when you have things that people are telling you. The best example that I can give you in trying to be able to distinguish what is true and what you need to follow and be guided by versus what is just noise is when someone experiences a trauma or a loss. A lot of us go into this like mode of like, oh my gosh, I have to support this person. What do I do? And everyone reacts to grief differently, including the person who experienced the grief might act differently if you experience that. So a lot of us operate from that perspective of what would I want in this situation. And so, you'll get all of the phone calls, the texts, maybe you'll get some social media posts that people start the food train. They'll drop by and say hello. They'll send flowers and gifts, or some people just may not even know what to do and they'll just kind of back off altogether until things pass. You have some of those people that will, not really say too much while you're going through it. And then when everyone has stopped rallying around you, then they like show up and they're the person who like, you think everyone's forgotten. You're still going through this. Here I am. So as the person who's, being the recipient of that stuff, you have to kind of you're going through a difficult time, but you also have to know that this is how people figure out how to support you in grief. And a lot of times it's, this is kind of total sidebar, but you don't know that you need some of the things that people are offering. And some of them you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't take any more of this. And that's when you speak up. So that was a total digression, it seems like, from what I'm talking about. But as you're going through this, people are not going to know how to react to you, how to respond, how to support you. Some may just sit back in silence, and all of that is okay because it is your journey, and you have to really, you know, step into who you are and react as that person in those situations. And a lot of times, reacting as that person, if you want other people to be their authentic selves, then you have to be okay with how they're handling that situation and know that you guys just might have a difference of opinion. So I want to share with you some of the things that people have said to me that were, it felt kind of hurtful at the time. And I, I had to take a step back and be like, okay, is this a sign? Is this something that the universe or God or, whatever is telling me that I need to, take an about face and really think about what I'm doing? And so, some people have said to me, you're crazy. You quit your dream job. You have a family, you have all of these obligations, and you just quit to start this business and kind of like don't even know what you're selling. I know somebody asked me that before, long before I quit my job. And they said, what are you selling? And I said, well, I'm selling happiness. And that sounds absolutely ludicrous. And yeah, I mean, looking back, it does. But at the same time, is what most of us don't know how to do is to step into our authenticity and know that we're even living as someone who is not truly who we are. And then number two is say what we want and go after it in a really effective way. And the coolest thing about, where I've arrived at my journey right now is that I've had the opportunity to spend so much time with some incredible, incredible people. And I would say that almost everyone I've talked to has been able to give me some type of mentorship because it's something that they said or it's something that they did or someone that they connected me with that has moved my journey forward in a very pivotal way. It's just been absolutely phenomenal. But in those conversations, a lot of times I think I've talked about, like, we do small talk a lot, and we just like, hey, how you doing? How's your dog? How's your kid? How's your wife? How's your husband, etc. And we don't take the time to really deep dive. And so I've met people who I knew for 5 minutes, and suddenly we're talking about, deepest desires of the heart, what your life looks like day to day, and what's hard and what you wish for. And in all of those conversations, you really start to see, like, some of them are entrepreneurs, but they haven't found that success. And it's like, why haven't they found that success? Why haven't they gotten to the thing that they really want? They're so close they can almost taste it. And that's kind of like, how I feel every day. So I was, as I said, a marketer for a long, long time. I've been a marketer for almost 2 decades. And I could never figure out, as I walked away from this job, why God had me in marketing for all of these years. And then now, as I'm having these conversations, what do marketers do? We build value and we connect people and we create brands and we create something that people can, latch on to and say, this product, service, person, thing, if I can be a part of it, it's going to change my life. And so when I'm talking to these people who want to help people, they're genuine at the heart of what they do. They want to empower others. They want the world to be a better place. And they want, at the end of the day, for everyone, including you, to succeed, live authentically, live their purpose, and live a happy life. But the message isn't getting out there. And so when I'm having these deep conversations, because I'm a marketer, there's a lot of clarity that comes when you have those conversations, and people, like, drop the, like, mask of small talk, and they really say, here is what I want. And then suddenly, for me, like, a marketing campaign kind of like manifests in my head. Because I've always learned in marketing, like, when I spent more time with the founder of the business that I was working for, if I spent more time with the people who were closest to the clients, that's when I was able to really, like, go into a flow state and create campaigns and create content and create things that really moved the needle for the business. And there's a lot of talk in marketing about, like, oh, do you know about this latest technology? And can you do this? Can you do that? All that stuff is well and good. But if you can't get to the heart of what your clients really need or your customers really need, and you can't paint that vision and that mission for your employees, then all of the technology in the world isn't going to matter. And so what I'm saying to you here is that I have finally figured out my mission, and that is to be able to connect you, women, people, actually, I've met so many great men on this journey too, that if you are wanting to take that really scary step and become the person that you're meant to be and shed the person that the world told you to be, and you want to get uncomfortable and maybe take a lesser paycheck and stop indulging in some of those frivolous things, to step back from the job that you don't like and isn't serving your purpose, and you're ready to be the person that you were meant to be, and you're ready to pursue your purpose, and you're ready to find this happiness, then you need to reach out to me. And that is what I believe that I am here for. I have finally landed on the mission of the Happy Life Agenda in a nice little tagline, and it's creating access to resources, insights, and experts to empower you to live the life that you want to live. So if that fits your, mission as a business owner, or if that fits your mission as an individual, then you need to reach out to the Happy Life Agenda. I am hosting retreats that bring all of these people together. Some of them you've seen on my podcast, others of them you haven't yet, but you will soon. And we are going to do activities, and these experts are going to lead workshops. I'm going to be there as well. There's also going to be opportunity to mingle with them. There's going to be activities to socialize and connect with other people, but there's also going to be all of this wide open space for you to be able to go and sit in silence if that's what you need. Because my biggest epiphanies came at a retreat. The cool thing about the retreat that I was at is that, like, in the hours in the morning, there was no one else up, and I had my own room and my own space to sit and have that minute to think. Because can't tell you how many times a day, particularly women, doesn't mean the men don't have this too, but it's just like, I just need a minute to think. I just need a minute to focus on this or that. And I mean, that is an accurate statement, because if you're a parent, you know how that your child's favorite word is probably mom. And it's really sweet, actually, if you think about it, because they just want to say it, but they also interrupt your thought. And then, your spouse needs something, then you got to cook dinner, and then the emails are going off, then text messages and the Facebook, and then you got to do whatever. You got to get yourself dressed, and you got to go work out, and you're supposed to vacuum the floor and fold the clothes. And it's just like, I mean, just even walking around your house, even if no one is there, all of those things are screaming at you. And so when you take yourself out of that situation and you go to a retreat, or something like that, where it's, I know when I go out on trips with my girlfriends, a lot of times it's a lot of fun, but we got activities lined up. We're probably going to drink, and we're going to have all these conversations. And it's still, while it's fun and relaxing, it's also still a barrage of like things to do. Whereas the events that I'm putting on give you that time and that space to claim what you want and need in that moment, access to the expert, access to the resource, access to the connections and the socialization, and access to conversations that will bring you clarity, but also access to the stillness that will bring you clarity. So I'm telling you that if you are somebody who is sitting here listening to this podcast, and what you do every day, it comes out every Tuesday. So on Tuesdays, you listen to the podcast, and then you get out of your car and you go into the office and you do what you always do, and you think, I really need something to change, then let this be your sign. Let all of the episodes that you've listened to, if you've read any of my content on my blog, or if I actually know you personally and we've had these conversations, and there's that inkling in the back of your head, don't ignore it. Do not get to 45 if you're already 45, or if you're not 45 yet, or do not go another day if you're 45 plus. Letting your life be not what you want it to be. Does that mean you're going to have 100% happiness and 100% perfection? Absolutely not. But does it mean that moment to moment, you know how to react in situations, and you know who you are? You don't have those heart palpitations of anxiety. You don't get hot with rage. I mean, I can't tell you how much energy I have gained back and how much fulfillment I get from certain moments, because I don't have any of that anymore. And so, um, I am here to connect you to, you know, experts, insights, resources, just whatever you might need. That is the goal of the Happy Life Agenda. And I am by and far not the smartest person in the room. So when you come to one of my events, I'm not going to be the only speaker. I would love to chat with you, just because I have found happiness in meeting new people and hearing their stories and being able to help connect the dots and build some clarity. But overall, I think it is all of these people that I've met. Adam Grant said in one of his books that it is rarely a single mentor that anyone can give credit to. Even if they go into a job and they succeed at that job, there isn't one mentor that contributed to them climbing the ladder. It's usually several mentors over time. I think he said to make partner in a law firm, they averaged out that it's like two core mentors and like two other kind of side mentors that allow someone to make partner and have the skills to be successful. So that's what I want to create for you, is really access to those mentorships. And coming to one of our events isn't where the buck stops, because there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to continue the conversation and continue the journey. Because what I've also noticed is that, you can work on one facet of your life. So for me, my career was weighing down a lot of what I was wanting to do with my life. And so I've spent a lot of time and energy focused on that, as well as who I am. But for other people, there are other facets, and there are other facets that I'm looking to grow in as well. Wellness, finance, nutrition, fitness, parenting. Like, there are so many I've had that I kind of touched on those topics on my podcast. But for these events and for what I want to bring to you, we need to be having some conversations. So don't let this be a one-sided conversation. Please go to my website, read my blogs, listen to some more of the podcasts if you haven't, sign up for one of the retreats, and then also like go grab that contact form and fill it out with like what you're going through, and send it to me. I want to read it, and I want to help you build that clarity. I also strongly encourage you to get on social media and make some comments on the post, because that is like all of the people that I've met, we're all connected on social media. And so they have been jumping in the comments and responding and giving, advice and conversations. So please, please jump in there and do that. This is what the Happy Life Agenda is all about. And I want you to be able to claim the life that you want to live. And I have, like I said, been fortunate enough to connect and partner with some amazing women, business owners, and now we're bringing all of that to you in different ways. And you need to reach out to me if you're feeling that inkling that something needs to change. So I'm Dani Cee. Thank you so much for kind of listening. I feel like this was almost a rant, but I hope that it was valuable to you. And if you did find it valuable, please subscribe below, like this episode, and share it with somebody else who needs to be empowered today, because all of us might be going through something and we just don't tell everyone what we're doing or what we're going through. So please, please send this to them if they come to your mind when you listen to this. All right, I appreciate all of y'all so much. Visit happylifeagenda.com and I'll talk to you soon.